Welcome to A Course in Business Miracles. This is Heather Dominick, creator of BusinessMiracles.com and founder and leader of the highly sensitive entrepreneur movement. Join me today for some genuine practical assistance and a business-altering and life-changing experience, a business miracle. This is A Course in Business Miracles, episode number 79. Making miracles. So many people believe that miracles are something that happen to you, when in truth, the process of making miracles is an act of co-creation. Join me to discover how to shift from coping to creating, and how being willing to stay with the process is the part you play when it comes to making miracles in your business and life every day. Way out is through what I refer to as the path of transformation, otherwise known in the Business Miracles community as AYUK. And AYUK stands for awareness, A, U, understanding, and K, knowing. We have awareness. It's like, oh, yeah, okay, I think I might be soothing. And then we go into understanding, which is intellectual. So then we start to think, oh, I remember Heather talking about this. I get this. I'm soothing right now. And that's where most people stop in the path of transformation, whether it has to do with the coping cycle or not. The mind fools you into believing that because you understand it, you've got it. And then it happens all over again, back into the cycle, and you're like, but wait a minute, I totally understand this. Why is this still happening? Because it has not yet moved into knowing, which is an embodiment and that membrane change that I was speaking about earlier from Brian Lipton. So how do we get from understanding to knowing? This is what I refer to as choice, action, choice, action. So the minute you hit understanding, you make a choice to take an action that will bring you closer to knowing. This is what I talk about when I say that the process is the goal. Because the outside influence to instantly change a cell that Brian Lipton has proved must happen numerous times in order for the impact to be long-lasting into knowing. But again, this is where most people stop, highly sensitive or not. Why? Because we are impatient, because everyone wants transformation and no one wants to change, and we don't want to do the work, and we get a little bratty about here. Like, come on already. Or, as I said earlier, we understand it, but we don't really want to change it because I really like my chocolate and 72 hours of meditation. And fighting with my husband when I'm upset is comfortable. Or yelling at my kids. Or pretending that because I am so much a caretaker of my dog that I am a good person, so I don't really need to do anything differently. Or just good old, plain old fear. I don't know what this change will be. I say I want it, but what will happen? What will that be like? How will I live? Will I still have friends? Will I still like to eat apples? What if I don't like the sunshine anymore? I don't know. This is scary. And so we stay here. And we take course after course after course, and we read book after book after book, and we fool ourselves that we're actually transforming, but we're not really engaging in what I refer to as the real work to change. When you shift from understanding to knowing, it is full freedom. You literally are no longer the same person. Deep breath in and let it out. So, at any point in the cycle, you can kick in to awareness. So maybe it's in fear. Maybe you've been through this enough times that you're just so gosh darn sick of it that instead of giving into the fear, the minute you feel it, bam, you go into awareness. You're like, yep, here I am. I'm in fear. And then you start around ayuk. Or maybe it doesn't hit until you're collapsing. And maybe you've collapsed so drastically, and finally the universe gives you enough of a kick in the ass in the form of some type of trauma, tragedy, big wake-up call. And you're like, this is it. Or as Marianne Williamson says when she's teaching about the Course, where the Course says the best place to be is on your knees. And Marianne says, when do we get down on our knees? We get down on our knees in crisis. And then she says, after we've been down and up and down and up and down and up enough times, we learn, I might as well just stay there. Just stay on my knees. Whatever it might be. So maybe it's there and it kicks you into awareness. Maybe it's soothing. When you've done this work enough times, it can kick in at any time. I have literally been in the middle of habits myself. Eating that thing that I always go to or had gone to, and in mid-bite, and suddenly, I don't want this anymore. I don't need this anymore. And then it's done. Into awareness, understanding, into choice action. And then it is about staying with the ayuk process over and over and over again. And as you do, that brings you into the experience of a miracle. And as you know from being a part of the Course in Business Miracles community, a miracle is a shift in perception. And suddenly, what used to scare you so much doesn't scare you anymore. What used to have you in pushing, you're not pushing anymore. And this is a beautiful space because it is the ultimate experience of love. Because it is love for yourself. Love for yourself as a person who's highly sensitive. Love for yourself as a person who's highly sensitive, who can use those abilities as strengths, who is willing to do things differently, and anyone else who has issue with it, be damned. And you are so comfortably confident. It doesn't matter what Grandma Jane used to do. It doesn't matter that your friends are like, what's wrong with you? It doesn't matter that you never eat chocolate again, or that you just eat chocolate because you choose to, because you like the taste. Or you choose to be able to meditate proactively, or get a massage just because you plug it in as a core practice for your time off. And this is beautiful change. Deep breath in and let it out. Now, the other piece about the coping cycle is that you can have the awareness at any point in the cycle. And just as we're going into Ayuk, what can happen? Resistance. And maybe it's on your way to awareness. Maybe it's on your way to understanding. Maybe it's you're in choice, action, and suddenly you're like, I am not taking another action. I have had it with these actions. No way. You cannot make me take any other action. Which, of course, is a choice. Now, just one other note about the cycle, which is the words of touched and awaken. And those come from Bonnie Badenoch, who has done a lot of work around the trauma of the heart and even looking at the heart as its own brain, the heart brain, which we went into more deeply for those of us who were at the spring training retreat together. And so what she says is that to give a rename to trigger as a moment of being touched or awaken. And that's for those of you who get triggered by the word trigger. So you don't just stop right here, right? Which connects back to what I said earlier, which is that our shadows are not bad. They are simply here to give us a signal. But then it's about being able to recognize the signal, and then the willingness to listen to the signal, and then the willingness to work with the signal. Thank you for listening, and I hope you enjoyed this episode of A Course in Business Miracles. If you're ready to learn how to use your highly sensitive abilities to support you in being purposeful, profitable, and empowered rather than scattered, poor, and undervalued, take my free self-quiz to find out if you are indeed a highly sensitive entrepreneur. And if you are, along with your quiz results, you'll receive my free HSE Success Guide, which will teach you how to have your highly sensitive abilities working for you to create the results you desire in your business. Take the quiz and receive your free success guide now at www.hsequiz.com.